Hey everybody, and Tony here. I just came home from watching 12 Years a Slave, which was shown at the Cubic Cinema at Alexanderplatz. And let me tell you, this film really caught me emotionally. It is so up there with other films like Amistad, The Patriot, and Grave of the Fireflies. Those films were good, if not great, but this film really blew them out of the water. Everything about it was just masterfully done. The story, the characters, the plotting, everything was masterful. And it's almost no surprise that it ended up being nominated for an Oscar. To really find out why I love this film so much, let's get started with this review. Story wise, the theme of slavery isn't really anything new to me. In fact, like I said, I have watched Amistad, and I've also watched the anime now and then here and there. Those two forms of media talked about slavery and the evils of it and what it does to the human soul in such a negative way. Yet we see the main characters strive hard at what they believe in order to have their happy ending. This film, I feel, really blew the other two films or the other two forms of media out of the water. The story was really engaging. And for those of you not in the know, this film was also based on a real life story of what happened to Solomon Northup. He was a rich and wealthy and successful African American man who was a carpenter, or yeah, a carpenter, and was also a fiddler. He gets conned by two white men saying that he'll be great for the circus. Unfortunately, he finds himself in chains, working on plantations, and being beaten incessantly. Now, that alone definitely made me just so awed, and it was just beyond heart wrenching for me seeing this happen. I know that Amistad had that effect on me. I know that now and then, here and there, had that effect on me as well, and also Grave of the Fireflies. But this was absolutely something that really blew it all out of the water in terms of just how real it was. It was real. I mean, you've had the African American men bathing naked outside. You had the African American people who work as slaves being stripped naked to the buyers as if though they were nothing but tools. You see a lot of death. You see a lot of nudity. You see one scene of rape. That just really, really shocked me. But in the end, the story was really engaging, and I was able to follow Solomon's journey, though as heart wrenching and as harrowing as it was, I still kept rooting for him. This story, like I said, very engaging, very relatable, and it was just masterfully done at how life was for the African Americans that lived in the 1800s. And it's all thanks to Mr. John Ridley's amazing writing and also to Mr. Steve McQueen's great directing. Now, what about the characters? The characters I thought were great. Solomon was definitely one of the best male characters I've ever seen, but lest I forget, he was also a real life person. This is someone I can easily follow. I can easily sympathize. I can easily root for because of the many trials he had in his journey working as a slave, even though he is a free rich man. It was just so heart wrenching watching him being beaten, being treated so cruelly by the owners. Now, despite all that, he still stayed strong. He persevered. He fought on. That just shows me that this was a strong male figure right there that I feel that everyone can root for. And I mean everyone. We see his anguish, his want for freedom, and we want him to have his freedom. We all want it. Yet at times, things didn't go the way he planned. But still, we kept wanting him to fight, and we sympathize with him. We know for a fact that we just want him to be stronger, and we really feel that he's with us right now. That's just how relatable Solomon is as a character. And then we have Patsy, who is also quite a tragic character as well. But lest I forget, this is also based in real life too. She was definitely another person I sympathize with. She's basically used as a tool, a sex object for Mr. Epps. That for me is just heart-wrenchingly terrifying because she's still so young, still so fragile, still so delicate, yet she gets used by him like that. And I also kept rooting for her to get her happy ending. But like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything. This is absolutely spoiler free. And even then, I still kept rooting for her. She may only be a minor character, but she's definitely someone I sympathized with. And then we have Bass. I thought he was a very likable character too. He really sympathizes with Solomon, and he's very helpful to him, like a really great friend. And Mr. Ford, he's a good character too. And sure, I really wanted him to help Solomon get his happy ending, but unfortunately, he kind of wussed out because he knows for a fact that if he ends up helping a white man, or excuse me, if he ends up helping a black man, he's gonna get his ass and handed to him, and he'll be shunned, or worse, killed. Still, I kind of felt for him, even though he did chicken out. And there are characters I also despise in the movie, but the ones that I really, really love to despise, I would have to say Mrs. Epps is definitely someone I despise with a passion because she is so cold, so unfeeling, like a huge wall of ice. The way she treats Patsy was beyond cruel, and I absolutely hate her for that. She is by far one of the most detestable women I've seen in film, more so than Jadis the White Witch, but she's a villain. I mean, I really love to hate her. I especially love to hate Mr. Epps for being such a huge prick to everyone. More than just a prick, but a cruel bastard to Solomon and to Patsy. I loved to hate Tibbets for how he treated Solomon and for how he lynched Solomon. That's how much I love to hate some of the characters in this movie. But I guess despite me hating on these characters, I feel that they kind of have this certain meat to the story, and they're not just being assholes, but they're definitely the type of people that we as human beings don't want to root for or don't want to follow. And I felt that this was masterfully done as well. It goes to show that every character in this movie serves a purpose. And what's also worth mentioning is, well, the acting as well. Every actor has done magnificently. Chiwetel Ejiofor, who is a British actor, was able to play all of Solomon's troubles, fears, anguish, and the want for freedom. Michael Fassbender, I thought, was really great at playing such a huge asshole of a person like Epps. He was able to use his voice really well in terms of shouting and screaming and really getting angry. He really got into his character. And even Paul Dano as Tibet. Oh my god. He really nailed his character well. He definitely really wanted me to hate him and punch him in the face. But all in all, that's just how convincing Paul Dano was in that role. But by far, my most favorite, let me see her name. Mind you, I'm kind of cheating here a bit. I'll find her name. The lady who played Patsy, I thought was absolutely amazing. Let me find her name. Go on Wikipedia and ah, Lupita Nyong'o. I thought she was absolutely amazing. She was able to portray all of Patsy's anguish and delicacy as a person, and I thought she nailed it. And Sarah Paulson as Mary Epps was phenomenal. She was able to bring out that icy cold nature of Mary. She's definitely the type of person, well, her character, her character is definitely the type of person you do not want to cross paths with. And I feel that Miss Paulson definitely nailed her to a T. That is just amazing. And Brad Pitt as Bass. Awesome. Just awesome. And it's also surprising that he's never aged. And I thought that really was amazing. He was able to play Bass's sympathetic nature perfectly. In fact, every actor in this movie was phenomenal. Special kudos goes to Mr. Chiwetel. I pronounce his name wrong. Chiwetel Ejiofor as Solomon. I really, 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 really hope that he wins that Oscar. I really hope that he wins that Oscar. And it seems as though that almost all of these performers are worthy of winning an Oscar. I feel that every one of them did magnificently. Even Alfre Woodard, who had a small role as Miss Harriet, I felt was amazing. I felt she was able to portray Miss Harriet's wisdom perfectly. I thought she was definitely a great actress as well. In fact, like I said, every one of these actors, Every one of them was amazing. They were able to catch all the emotions, all the nuances, everything that can make this film real to all of us. The music in this movie may be kind of minimalist, but it's the spirituals that really, really sell it for me. To quote Leontine Price, the spirituals are the black heartbeat. It's a tapestry woven from all of our cares, sorrows, sufferings, beauty, and strength. And I feel that the spirituals sung by the slaves were definitely, definitely heart-rendering, especially um, that On the River Jordan song I felt was emotional. It may sound upbeat and quite catchy too, but it really heightens the emotion of this movie. The same thing I can feel about the minimalist music, but it's the spirituals that sold it for me. And every one of the extras sang with beauty and strength. And of course, the cinematography was absolutely stellar. Every detail was given such great attention. Everything, whether it's, you know, whether it's just this, whether it's um, seeing Solomon's fiddle being tuned, whether it's the moon, whether it's the trees, whether it's the houses, whether it's everything, everything was caught with such great detail, especially all of the emotions, whether they're from the major characters, minor characters, or extras, what have you, everything. The camera work was beyond stellar. Overall, this film was definitely a trip for me, and I mean it in the best possible way. The characters, though based on real people, were amazing. The story was engaging. The cinematography was sharp and clear and very well detailed. And the music, in terms of the spirituals sung, were heart-rendering. I would rate this film a perfect 5 out of 5. Everything was flawless, from the cinematography to the acting to the characters to the story. Everything was stellar. And one more thing, I really have to thank the Black Critic Guy for introducing me to this film because, well, not really introducing me to this film, but for inspiring me to watch this film. Because, frankly, I've never really watched this movie before until now. And I've seen his video relating to 12 Years a Slave. Um, one was his top 10 best films of 2013, and he listed uh, 12 Years a Slave as his number 2 best film that he has seen in 2013. And I haven't really watched his review of that film, but I presume that he really gave such a great review of the movie. And all I have to say is thank you, Black Critic Guy, for really inspiring me to watch this film. I really loved it, and, well, I definitely enjoyed the heck out of it, and I could easily recommend it to everyone. That's right, I can easily recommend this film to everyone. It doesn't matter what creed you have, but this film will absolutely touch you. It will really tug your heartstrings, and it will really, really make you sympathize with Solomon as he goes on his journey. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune into tomorrow's review where I review The Wolf of Wall Street. Don't worry, it's also spoiler free. And until then, this is Antoni signing off and wishing you all a good night.